there is actually a Red Wings topic that I want to get into, at least briefly. So, I didn't watch the lottery, but in case you did not watch the lottery and you did not see the results, the Red Wings, to the surprise of very little, got screwed in the draft lottery again. And by screwed, I don't mean they didn't get the number one overall pick. I don't even know if that was mathematically possible, but they move up a spot. So I believe they were at the 12th spot and they move up to the 13th spot. So they get screwed by the lottery. And if you look up which teams have the best lottery luck historically, the Red Wings are bottom of the list. Like, they have the worst draft lottery ever. I think they're tied with the Ottawa Senators, whom, by the way, made the playoffs this year. So I just want to point that out. But the whole the whole conversation revolving around the Red Wings this past, I guess, from yesterday to today, particularly on Reddit, is, oh my gosh, we get screwed in the lottery again. This is so unfair to Steve Yzerman. How is he ever going to get us out of this rebuild if he just keeps getting screwed in the lottery? And you know what? I'm out of sympathy. I don't care. I simply do not care. You want to say you got screwed? Yep. You want to say you've been the least lucky team in the NHL in terms of lottery luck? Yep. I do not care. And nor should you. You want to know why? Because I don't care if you literally are the worst luck team in the NHL. 6 years into a rebuild, you should not be on the outside looking into the playoffs. Last I checked, the Dallas Stars didn't have a whole lot of great draft luck lottery, and they're not that far from a conference finals appearance. Like, last I checked, like I just said, the Ottawa Senators, they have as bad of draft luck lottery as you, and they just made the playoffs and almost took the Leafs to a game 7. So that's what I don't want to hear. What I don't want to hear is all of these people saying, oh my gosh, see, this is why, because Stevie can't catch a break. You know what Stevie can do with this draft pick? He can say, all right, I don't want to use this draft pick. I'm going to take this pick, and I'm going to take maybe a player or two on the team, and maybe I'll take some of these prospects that are allegedly very good NHL level players, and I'm going to throw them at another team and say, give me your best player. And we're just going to expedite this. We're going to speed this rebuild up. We're going to say, you know what we're doing isn't working, clearly. So let's do something new. Because let me tell you something. Whomever we pick 13th overall will not help us next year, won't help us a year from or 2 years from now, may not help us 3 years from now, and maybe, hopefully, will help us 4 years from now. But if we're talking 4 years down the road, assuming that the Yzerman truthers are correct, and that this team will just miraculously become a contender as soon as Axel Sandin Pellikka finally makes the NHL roster, assuming those people are absolutely right, and I'm just a dumb, stupid idiot who doesn't know anything about hockey, assuming those people are right, 4 years down the line, this team will already, presumably, be a Stanley Cup contender or a Stanley Cup winner. So I don't even care about the prospect at that point, because I don't care. All of the team is set. Like, oh, great. We have an 18, 19-year-old, well, maybe not 18, 19-year-old, 20, 21-year-old player who is on the fourth line of a alleged Stanley Cup team. Now, I'm not stupid enough to believe that that's actually going to be the case, but some of these hockey fans truly believe this. So my thought is, well, whether we are a contender or not, we trade the pick, we get better now, and it's more worth our while long-term anyway. Because, again, that player is not going to help us at least until 2029, maybe 2030, the way these prospects are developing. And furthermore, I have to talk about this as well. Steve Yzerman gave a press conference where he said, and let me actually pull up the exact quote. Let me pull this up really quick. So here's from Brad Galley, who I believe works for Fox 2. I believe that's the case. Steve Yzerman assessed goaltender Sebastian Cosa's progress. And I quote, "I'm not prepared today to put him in the NHL. This is a big playoffs for him. He's going to have to take another step here if we want to count on him to be in Detroit next year." You know what? This is my live reaction to that information.
Oh no! Oh no!
That is incredible. Incredible. First of all, let me just look up where Sebastian Cossa, when he was drafted, first of all. Elite prospects. Maybe it's have the draft year. It might not have the draft year. No, hold on. Got to find the draft year. I believe it's Hockey DB. Okay. He was drafted 15th overall in 2021. 2021. I was still in college when they drafted him. 5 years ago, they drafted this guy, and Steve Yzerman says, "Yeah, I'm just not ready to bring him in the NHL." What? Not ready to bring him to the... When are you going to be ready? Half a decade has gone by since we drafted this guy. Next year, you're not ready to bring him up? That will be 2020. That is 5 years ago. It's currently 4 years ago, but it will be 5 years since he got drafted, and you're not ready to bring him up? Does he just stink? What is that? What you're trying to avoid? Are you trying to just avoid? Guys, to be honest with you, he just kind of stinks. Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, he's been terrible in the playoffs with a .789 save percentage. That's not good. .829 goals against average. Now, granted, it's one game, so that number is a little big. He didn't even start in the last playoff game either. So, what really is the point? Okay, he had just a modicum of NHL. They gave him one game this year and then threw him back in the garbage because apparently Peter Mrazek needs to get some ice time. That old Peter Mrazek guy, he really needs that experience of the NHL. Let me tell you something. If he's not ready to call up Sebastian Cossa, what will be 5 years since he got drafted, then what evidence do I really have that this guy actually is a good drafter? Because every pick that has panned out has been the first pick in the first round that in each of their respective drafts. Moritz Seider was his first pick. Lucas Raymond was his first pick. Simon Edvinsson was his first pick. Marco Kasper, his first pick. The other guys, the Elmer Soderbloms of the world, filler guys. Not really top of the line guys, all right? Albert Johansson, maybe he's got a high upside, but we're going to have to wait because he's going to develop here at the NHL level. And so do, frankly, the first-round picks. So I'm already dubious of the claim that he's just such a great drafter because all of the guys that he's drafted that have done well have been first picks, okay? And none of them are, superstars outside of maybe Lucas Raymond. Mo Seider, good player, good defenseman. He's not Cal McCarr. All right, he's not Dylan Carlson. I think is it Dylan Carlson? Carlson, the defenseman. I might have gotten the first name wrong. Oh, they're gonna jump on me for that. You don't even know his name. Your league has 30 fans. What do you want from me? I'm one of them. Anyway, so look, I'm already basically on the fire Steve Yzerman train because I don't have any belief in him. But if he wants to regain my support, do something bold. We're going to do something unpredictable. Actually package together this 13th pick, maybe a couple of prospects. Not maybe, you certainly will have to package a couple of prospects. Maybe some picks. Maybe a current player or two. I don't know. Any combination of these things that I'm stating, and go out there and say, I want Elias Pettersson. I don't know. Name a player that could be on the trade block. There's plenty of guys out there. What's his name? Zibanejad out of New York. I'm not saying any of these guys are necessarily going to be traded. I'm giving you names, okay? If you go out and you get Pedersen or Zibanejad, those guys would immediately be top players on your team. That's just a fact. All right, like you can scoff, you can pretend, you can act as though Lucas Raymond is Patrick Kane in his prime. Okay, maybe he will be someday, but he's not right now. So look, I don't have much faith in this anyway. But the Red Wings absolutely should be trading that pick. And if they do take that pick, then you know what? Steve Yzerman will never be fired. And I'm just going to have to sit here and embrace the suckitude and the mediocrity, because we're just not going to ever win with Steve Yzerman as the general manager. And maybe this will age like milk, and I hope it does. But the way it looks right now, he is in over his head, and he is skating by on his name alone. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.